All day I dream about sadness. Greetings and welcome back to another sad and sappy episode of the Vodkast. I'm your host as always, Geycen Oliveira, and today I'm probably going to cry in this episode. I have been plagued the last 2 or 3 weeks by nightmares. Occasionally there's a dream thrown in there, but most of the time it's nightmares. Now I'm going to tell you briefly about a nightmare I had 2 nights ago, not in detail, but I was at some school. I don't know what school it was. It kind of looked like Kohanet School. I'll try to show you a picture of it, but Kohanet School's been closed for a long time, and it wasn't in the location of Kohanet School. It was in kind of a field somewhere. And I remember being there for a purpose that I can't recall right now, or could recall even after I woke up. And I remember at some point I was on top of the school looking down, and my mother was there, and she kept saying, "Geycen Oliveira, you get down from," or Jason Andrew, that's right, because she always called me, "Jason Andrew, you get down from there." And I got down, and she scolded me, and we started to walk home together, and I had forgotten something at the school, so I had to walk back to the school, and it was just it was very realistic. The dreams I've been having don't feel like dreams. I feel like I'm actually living, like I'm awake, and I'm just in a strange situation that shouldn't exist. But last night was the craziest of them all that I've had in a while. It was so super realistic that in the dream I was crying, but it felt like it was happening to me in real life. I was walking down this street. Now, the street, I don't know where it is. I believe it was in Maine somewhere in the woods where there were houses on either side of the street. And I came up to this one house, and sitting outside around these tables, as they often did when I was a child, was my Uncle Steve, who I called Unky, my grandmother, Mary Louise Green, and Mrs. Plummer, who was a good friend of my uncle's. And they used to hang out and smoke all day, and my uncle would cook at the table. They'd play cards. My grandmother would come down, and I'd just sit in there with them. Occasionally I'd play dominoes or light fires in the ashtray because my uncle was cool like that. And when I saw them in the dream, I was absolutely floored emotionally because all of those people meant a lot to me. And they're all dead now. They died. My grandmother died when I was 21 on my birthday. My uncle died when I was about 10. And my uncle was kind of the person that not took the place of my father, but stepped up and kind of he would take me fishing. And every Monday night, we'd go to Papagino's. And on the way home, would stop at Benny's and get candy. And it was them in the dream. It wasn't some version of them. When they saw me and I saw them, it was like we'd seen each other for the first time since they'd passed away. And I rushed over to them, and I threw my arms around them, and they were solid, and they were there. And it was like it was actually happening. I can't begin to explain it to you right now. But it was like we got to catch up a little bit, and the conversation was light, and I can remember very little of it. But I remember my uncle telling me he tried his best to do what he could, for me while he was around, and he was there, and he really was there for me. And I remember being really upset in the dream because my boys weren't with me, and I really wanted them to meet them. I don't know why I had this dream or what it was exactly, but they've been happening more and more to me, where these dreams are getting very, very too close to home and too realistic, and it does this to me. It just kind of messes me up, but I remember just getting to see them again and feel them again and talk to them again, and then we all went to the mall together. I don't know why, because I guess that was something we could do, And the dream kind of fades from there. We went into a music store, and I knocked over a bunch of guitars, and then I woke up shortly afterwards with my alarm. But I have never in my life felt a dream that felt more realistic than it did last night. And I just wonder if you guys have ever experienced any kind of dreams or anything like that, that it feels so real to you that when you wake up, you're in shock that it wasn't real. If you guys have ever experienced long-term nightmares, please let me know in the comments below, because it's every other night, every third night.
it's mostly nightmares, and most of the time I can't even remember them. You know how dreams and nightmares work. You wake up and you're like, holy shit! Like, especially dreams like you win a lot, like the lottery, and you think that, oh, you wake up and just for a few minutes there when you're awake, you're like, I don't have anything to worry about anymore, and then you realize, wait a minute, that was a dream, and it's soul crushing when it's things like that. But this was far more than any lottery. It was like winning the universe. It was like something, I don't know. Like I was thankful enough that, like, at least with my grandmother, we had a great relationship. We spent a lot of time together. We were very similar in many ways. She loved to sing. She used to go over to Fitzsimmons and Arms, I think it was. I can't remember now. It's been a long time since I lived in Taunton. And she would sing for the people there who lived there, the elderly, the older folks. I'm kind of dumbfounded, and my mind's kind of spinning a million miles an hour as all the details are starting to come back to me. But I remember the spot that I found them in was a place that we vacationed once. It was somewhere, I want to say it was in York Beach, Maine, but I don't know why I chose to come on here and share this today, other than I hope somebody has some kind of input into to dreams or whatever this was, because it was like nothing I've ever experienced before. So, yeah, that's about it. I don't have a lot more to share with you today, but I'm sorry I'm such a sad sap. I guess the older I get, I guess just the more emotional I've gotten. But this hit me like a 1,000 pounds. It was just the craziest thing in the world. So, anywho, if you're loving the content I'm creating as much as I love creating the content that you guys are watching, would you please consider subscribing to the channel? And don't forget to make somebody smile today. Make yourself a better person tomorrow than you were today tomorrow. Let's make the world spin a little bit happier and a little bit more dreamlike together. Let's sing and dance in the sun and in the rain as one, my brothers and sisters. Live life to the fullest and love every moment of it, because you just never know when that last moment's going to come for you. However, never live in fear of that moment. Always live in love, but never let your inner child die. Take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and take care of those around you who cannot take care of themselves, for they are the ones that need it the most. And if no one has told you today that they love you, the Vodkast loves you very much, just the way you are. All right, guys, do no harm. I'm Geycen Oliveira. This is the Vodkast, and I'll catch you guys a little bit further on down the road to 50. Take care, my friends, and happy adventuring.
Don't go to sleep with a catch it in your pocket.